as well as any table topics or anything like that. When you have 1 minute, I will wave the infamous green shirt and you will see me disappear. When you have 30 seconds, I've got this one notepad. This is the only yellow I have in my home office. When your time is up, I will wave the red shirt. And if you really, really go over, I still do not know what a moose sounds like. However, I may act a little invidious myself and start reminding you every 15 seconds how far over you're going. So I'll chime in and you get to hear my wonderful soothing voice, but I will interrupt what you were doing at the time. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Love it. Thanks, Miguel. All right. Next, we're going to speak to is our ah counter, and it doesn't look like we have an ah counter. Mimi, did we get an ah counter in our interim?
We did not. I failed to fill that spot for you. I do apologize.
That is quite all right. Quickly, who volunteers? Or I'm going to be volunteering somebody.
Aye.
Miguel, you can do timer and ah.
Well, Sandy doesn't have a job, and she raised her hand.
There we go.
Sandy it is.
Thank you, everybody, for the volunteering. But Sandy, thank you for reaching out for that. So if you can tell us what the goal is for the ah counter and how you're going to help us with our speeches today, we would greatly appreciate it. Ms. Sandy?
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Toastmaster. As the ah counter today, I will be assisting with curing us of the habit of those weird ahs, ums, likes, and the just plain awkward pauses that don't seem to go anywhere. And at the end of the meeting, I will provide a report. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. So the first evaluator that I'm going to introduce today is
Me.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for your patience again. Do I introduce the general evaluator to introduce the evaluators, or I introduce the evaluators?
And introduce the evaluator of the first speaker, which will be myself.
Perfect. We all know Mimi. We love Mimi. We want to hear more from Mimi. And as an evaluator, she's going to give us even more pointers for not only the person she's evaluating, but we can all take notes because how great Mimi is as a speaker, as well as the speakers are here. One thing I really appreciate about Mimi is the call to mentorship that she has, and she really focuses on that and really comes to life when she's mentoring. So Mimi, thank you so much for being our first evaluator. What are you going to evaluate, and how are we going to be able to take away from this? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Today I'm evaluating Eric, and he is doing his first speech of his HPL, which stands for High Performance Leadership. He's gone down this road before, but it was before Pathways existed. So I'm excited that he's doing this again. So just to give you an idea of what we're looking for today, this speech, he is supposed to be delivering a well thought out plan and exercising his leadership skills. It can be humorous, it can be informational, it can be presented in any style that he chooses. And the speech should not be a report on the content of what a HPL is. So I am looking forward to this, and I will now pass this back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mimi. I do apologize. It didn't look like I actually have the breakdown of the role assignment for that. However, it sounds like you just went through that. So excellent. Let's hear from our first speaker. Everybody put a round of applause together or hands in the air, and let's hear it. Thank you for teaching us about HTML.
A year ago, Sandy and I's partner put us in an invidious position when he suggested that we open up a second location. At the time, didn't think that it was a necessary thing that we needed to do. Things were going good at our current location and didn't feel like right now was what we wanted to do that. But then he took us to show us the location. And that changed everything. Turns out the location was what we always wanted this location to be, which is a neighborhood location. So we sat down, we talked, we agreed to enter into negotiations with the owners of the property for lease. That took a little while to back and forth, talking about things. And Rob really took point on that. Sandy and I were his support through that process. And then January timeframe, we finally sat down, signed a lease. And then COVID hit. Everything ground to a halt. So the leadership roles in that kind of got pushed to the side because we weren't able to do anything. As things started to re-energize, we set up our roles as what each person's job really was. My biggest job was making sure that the brew room and the brewery equipment was properly set up, properly transported, all the things necessary. I've been handling a lot of that. Rob really took point with talking with the contractors, subcontractors, people of that nature down at the site. Sandy's job was to keep Rob and I from killing each other. It's like a marriage. I've known him for almost 36 years. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like a marriage. He's my work husband. So, we have our moments where we don't get along, and then Sandy steps in and tells me to just take a breath. Don't respond to that email. Don't respond to that text until you've thought about what you're going to say. So she's kind of the moderator of my committee, as it were, for the HPL. Once we got to about June and July, things really started to heat up, and it became kind of Rob and I tag teaming the contractors. I don't know if anybody out there has worked with contractors. Contractors are the hardest people in the world to work with. They tell you one thing and do another. The next thing you know, we're 3 weeks behind on where we should be because they said it was going to be done this Friday, and it took 2 more Fridays to get it done. So we've been doing that. Feels like now we're in the home stretch. Things are going to really get hot and heavy right now, and I'm doing a lot of the leg work because I have the time. Rob and Sandy both have full-time jobs where my job is brewing beer. So as long as I get my brew days in 3 days of work a week, I got 2 days out of the week where I can just go and do things, pick stuff up that needs to go down to the new location. So I'm kind of the facilitator right now. So as you can see, through all of this process, roles have changed, roles have got twisted and turned around. Now we become designers, as it were, where we'll be actually painting and doing tile work and things of that nature, where we'll be putting our touch on everything. Up until now, it's been construction and all the boring stuff. But it's, I'm doing this again because I love doing what I do. And I figured, why not do it as an HPL? That's part of the level 5 of the path I'm on. And that's the final level of the path. So when I complete this, I complete the second speech after the project is finished, I will have completed my path. So I'll have that path done and over with, and I'll be able to start on another path. So I'm having fun doing this again. I learned so many lessons the last time that this time we're kind of trying to avoid those potholes, not fall into them. And so far it's working out good because we're not letting anybody pull the wool over our eyes this time. And we're all making sure that we're on point and watching everything that is going on. So almost a year later, I'm no longer in an invidious position. I'm happy to be doing this and looking forward to our future. Thank you.
That was excellent, Eric. Thank you very much for that. All right. Okay, so next evaluator that we're going to have is.
We have a minute to evaluate.
Thank you. Miguel, can we have a minute to send our evaluations to Eric here?
Time has begun.
Thank you.
And that is time.
Thank you for helping us out with that, Mr. Miguel. All right, second evaluator, we're going to hear from, shows we don't even have one on for the easy speak. We said the second evaluator was Jennifer, right?
It's
or is
me.
that general?
It's me, Nate. It's
Thank
me.
you. Thank you, thank you. All right, so we're going to hear our evaluator from Jennifer Yancey. She's going to let us know what Janet's going to speak about, and let's hear about it and see what Janet wants to work on as well. So Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Janet's speech will be actually the second speech coming from the Innovative Planning Manual, Evaluation and Feedback. So what we'll be expecting to hear during Janet's speech, she's going to be addressing the skills needed to give and receive feedback. So we're going to be learning about how to give, receive, as well as applying feedback. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Excellent, thanks for that, Jennifer. All right, Janet Sellers is an artist, writer, and public speaker. Today, she will tell us about our resilience in hard times and the power of resilience by doing some things that may surprise you. By your brain and feel-good chemicals and a magic wand you really own to get things going. Janet, queen of everything, you have the floor.
Thank you. Everybody, I appreciate your listening to me, and you know that I talk about art a lot. I've just signed up to be a facilitator for Military Arts Connection, and I'll be teaching classes to our veterans. So I'm trying you all out as guinea pigs for something that I want to do. And I hope you have your magic wand at hand and a piece of paper. The reason I want to do this, it makes me instantly feel good, and I'm hoping it will help you, and I need your feedback to see how you feel about it. There's 3 steps, and in between those, I will be telling you how they help. I need to do this every day in some way, whether it's in art or poetry or something else. And I hope that you'll take this and use it yourself. So first, I'd like you to get out your magic wand. It could be a pencil or a pen. And I'd like you to also get a piece of paper. If you don't have one, I don't know, draw in the dust on your table. Think about, and you can close your eyes, that's one of the best ways. Think about something that makes you feel good. It could be your child, it could be your pet, it could be looking at flowers, looking at the mountains, remembering what it feels like to go running. That might be Mike. Remembering dancing, that might be Miguel. Holding your baby, I can hardly wait to hold my new grandchild. Something that makes you feel really, really good. When you think of it, you brighten. Give yourself a moment. Really immerse yourself in that feeling. Could be beer. And then I'd like you to take your magic wand and on your paper, make marks. I don't care what marks they are, just hold the thought and the feeling as you move your magic wand around on the paper. I don't care if you make straight lines, curvy lines, whatever. I just want you to make marks on the page. Something that feels good while you're thinking of that thing that you love or that delights you. And now I'd like you to take a structured shape. This may be unstructured that you did, and either put a square or a circle on or around what you made. And then, if you don't mind, I'd like you to hold it up to your camera so that we can see what you did. Here's mine. Up closer so we can really see it. Those are awesome. You just made some abstract modern art. And with any luck, whenever you look at art again, or whenever you look at abstract art, instead of seeing something and staying on the outside of it, it's my hope that you'll get on the inside of it. Because that's what those things are about. In the old days, they had to be something that was a picture of something. And maybe in some of the parts, and I'll show you with this one, you might be able to see that looks a little abstract, right? What is that? If I pull it back, you can see it's a picture of swans or ducks swimming, but it still has those abstract parts. And it's the abstract parts that make us feel good. When we listen to music, it's the abstract parts and the flow that makes us feel good. We have a lot of data that shows that when we look at art, and it could work with music as well, but when we look at art, it actually stimulates a part of your brain, the part of your brain that loves, that is in love. It stimulates dopamine. Hippocampus, which is right inside here, is stimulated, and the corpus callosum, all those parts flow with the dopamine. It opens up your mind, it opens up your thoughts and your feelings. It actually is something like being in love, or actually recreational drugs. They tested parts of the brains when people looked at art, and the same part that is stimulated when you look at art is the same one that gets stimulated when you are in love or when you are on recreational drugs. So I would say that art is a pretty easy way for you to open up. What happens when you open up? You're much more able to problem solve. When you're able to problem solve and you're open to ideas, you have your problems available with solutions. And those are pieces that we need now in these weird times of constant conflict and disease and troubles, to open up our minds, to let our minds be able to solve problems in a really pleasant way. Your brain on art is chemicals. but not just chemicals. Those feelings are supported by the chemicals. I hope that you will be able to look at art in a different way from today. I hope that you'll be able to look at things and abstract stuff in a different way today. It's free. You can do it anytime. And I'd like for you to take a look at how you could take a look. Enjoy yourself, leave your worries behind, and walk forward in the day with some joy and maybe a beer. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. That was fantastic. Miguel, could we get a minute on the clock for evaluation?
You got it.
Please. Thank you.
And that is time.
Thank you, Miguel. Next, we are going to have our table topics master with Sandra. She's going to let us know what the table topic is going to be, and then we're going to learn how to be extemporaneous in our speaking. Sandra, if you could let us know what that looks like today.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, the theme for today, and I really don't want to do anything that could be read as invidious, because I know not everybody thinks Halloween is a ton of fun or acknowledges it. There may be some people in this universe who go in the basement and turn off all the lights in the house and lock themselves in until 2 days later. But Halloween is my theme of choice because I have 2 gigantic bags of candy in my basement right now that have to find a home somehow. And they'll find a home with me soon if we do not get trick-or-treaters this weekend. I wanted to start with Ms. Jennifer Costello today, if she will allow. Looking for a smile. No? Yes. Okay. I didn't mean that. I was absolutely kidding. You do not get to just get
No,
out
I
of
was having fun with you.
in
I don't,
any way.
doesn't bother me.
Jennifer,
Yes, ma'am.
what is your favorite costume, be it Halloween or any other day of the year? What is your favorite costume?
My favorite costume has to be my pirate costume for the Disney cruise that Mom and I took 2 years ago. On any Caribbean cruise, they have what is known as a pirate's night, and you are pirates in the Caribbean instead of pirates on the Caribbean like the ride in the movies. And we literally made our costumes. Yes, they looked about as much as we paid. We probably paid $5 to make the costumes, but we found out our idea from Pinterest. Pinterest is the greatest thing ever, if you've ever known that. And we got old white male t-shirts, like undershirts. And we cut them up, made little triangles out of them. And then we made a red sash. And both of us were wearing black capris. And I want to say we wore loafer shoes with it. And then we had our little, I'm going to say do-rag, but I know that's not the right term. But we had our little do-rags, which we replaced later on in the evening with our Mickey Mouse do-rag. But it was just fun to really make that costume. And it's the most memorable one that If and when we go to Disney World in 2022, we'll be reviving the pirate costumes for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party with some friends where we get to trick or treat throughout Magic Kingdom. So that is my favorite costume, our pirate costume.
There you go.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
I was
Madam
fiddling with you.
Table Topic Master.
Thank you. That does sound fun, and I do like saying "picks or it didn't happen." So, new obligation before the next meeting is we need to see you and Wendy as Pirates in the Caribbean or Caribbean. Tomato. They still squish into sauce.
I will try and remember to bring a picture the next time I'm at a Toastmasters meeting.
Let's go with Jennifer's theme. Jennifer Yancey. I mentioned I've got those 2 bags, and they're the big Costco size bags of candy in my basement, and they are quite a variety. For you, what is the very best or the very worst and should be burned in the backyard Halloween candy of all time?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. It's funny you should mention that because I was just speaking to a colleague about this just moments before I jumped onto this Toastmasters meeting. It actually happens to be a candy I loved as a child, but then the light bulb came on one day and I said to myself, why am I eating this mess? It's a notorious, nefarious concoction known as candy corn. What is candy corn? They say it's candy. It doesn't look a thing like corn. And thank you, Queen of Everything. I appreciate you. And I was telling my colleague that it doesn't, you know how some candies, some foods have a distinct taste. When you taste it, you say, oh, that's such and such, that's this, that's that. I can't put my finger on what candy corn tastes like other than a sugar rush that'll have people bouncing off the walls. I'm 48. I think it'll still have the same effect on me it did when I was 8. So I don't understand the purpose of candy corn. I don't know why it exists, whose idea was it, and why they inflicted that onto the world. So my answer to you, Miss Sandy, would have to be candy corn. If you do, out of the kindness of your heart, share those big Costco bags, you can keep the candy corn. I will not be offended. It will not be an invidious act, I promise you. So thank you so kindly for your kindness and contribution. Madam Table Topics Master.
I think you're pairing it wrong. You haven't tried it with red wine yet. That is how my mother-in-law do it, is candy corn and red wine. Thus the candy corn tastes like red wine, which makes it very good, I must say. Mr. Toastmaster, do we have time for one more question?
We absolutely do.
Super fabulous. Mike Everson. You're a hardy guy. You seem to like temperatures and weather of any sort, but every year, and especially when Eric and I first moved here, there was like wagering on if there would be snow on Halloween. Is your personal preference for a snowy, delightful Halloween or something warm and sunshiny?
Today, I like the cold Halloweens. I prefer the invidious weather of snow and sleet and super cold. But if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I would say that invidious weather is horrible because I had to drag my little kids around the neighborhood and freeze my butt off. Because the parents really aren't allowed to, walk up to the door and grab all the candy. You're supposed to send the kids up there. And so you just stand there on the sidewalk and you walk about 10 or 20 feet, and freeze your butt off, and then you walk another 10 or 20 feet, freeze your butt off while your kids are running up and down driveways and having a blast, and they have a nice costume on and you don't, because you're a dad. But I do like the cold weather. I love the snow. I love the temperature. I like the weather we had the last couple of days, where it gets really cold. And as I mentioned, people just think that weather is invidious, but I think it's the opposite of invidious. I think it's glorious. I think it's absolutely fascinating. When you see the snow on the ground and you contrast it with the trees on the mountains and icicles hanging off of the gutters and off of trees and fences and so forth, it conjures up just serenity, just beauty, and I love it. I love the contrast of snow against the ground and the trees. So I would take the invidious weather, snow, and cold. Madam Toastmaster, Madam Tabletop.
Thank you, Mike. Quick tip for moms, dads, and grandparents taking their kiddos and grandkiddos out trick-or-treating this weekend. I highly recommend looking for a neighborhood that now does adult trick-or-treating as Eric and I's new neighborhood does. They have a map, and they sometimes tell you what they've got in their garage while the kids are going to the front door. So look for a neighborhood that does that. Please take a moment to vote in the chat for your winner of best table topics today. Your contenders are Jennifer Costello, who is a pirate in the Caribbean; Jennifer Yancey, who thinks that candy corn should be taken out back and burned; and Mike, who used to love pleasant weather on Halloween, but no more. He likes to see the snowy trees. Please vote, and thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ms. Table Topics Master. We will need a map to your neighborhood, just putting that out there, you and Eric, to find out where that map of the smaller map is for sure. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our general evaluator. Now I've got some conflicting reports here. Looks like I've got Jennifer is our general evaluator. Is that correct?
Jennifer Costello is.
Perfect. Excellent. Jennifer Costello, please give a round of applause to Jennifer as she's going to go with the general evaluators now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I am going to start my portion of the meeting by calling on our speech evaluators. Mimi, could you please give us your evaluation of Eric's speech?
Yes, it will be my pleasure. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Eric, today the purpose of your speech was to introduce your vision or your plan to the group. And so what I'll do is I'll follow this new evaluation formula that they have in Pathways, where I will tell you something that I liked, something that I would do different, and give you something to challenge yourself with. So what did I like? You began the speech with the word of the day. I felt envious because I'm like, I can't master incorporating the word in to save my life. And you not only did it once, but you did it twice. You had it at the beginning, then you swooped it back in at the end. I was like, look at him go. Like, oh, I got to do this. Like I was so jealous. I was so envious, but I thought that was really cool how you were able to immediately incorporate that, because it's important for us to add these new words in. And I thought it was very smart to get it off right off the bat. You got it in. That's a point for Eric Barrow, And so I really appreciated that. I appreciated how you also walked us through this timeline of events and your emotions in response to these different events. I really appreciated that. So what would I have done differently? Well, when I was listening and you started telling the story, because I kind of already know about some of the background, I thought this was an intro, but then you kept going. I was like, well, this is a long intro. Or maybe I missed where you were telling us what we were listening for. Like, this is the plan, like maybe this is the plan from here because of all the different things that you have listed in the timeline. It wasn't very clear on, is there a new vision or is there a new plan for the bar? Because you talked about different things, but like I said, it wasn't very concise or clear of this is what we're doing now. To challenge yourself, I would say scoot the camera back some, because you talk with your hands and they were moving, but we only saw like the tops of them. So I would say definitely give your square, get you a bigger square going, so that way we can see your hands moving, because you always have great hand gestures that support what you're saying. And I would love for everybody to see those hand gestures so they can steal some of those as well. So not only, ladies and gentlemen, still using the word of the day at the beginning, but use some hand gestures like Eric, because he's good at them. And that's all I have. I will now pass this back over to our Madam General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. Okay. Thank you for that excellent evaluation, Mimi. Next, Jennifer, if you can give your evaluation of Janet's speech, please.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Janet, the queen of everything. As always, it's a pleasure to hear you speak. I'm always intrigued by what your topic's going to be, and I notice that they're very consistent with your passion, and I do appreciate you sharing your passion with us through speech, through your speeches. That's greatly appreciated, and as a fellow creative, I can definitely appreciate that and respect that. Thank you. I love how you took a simple utensil like a pen, and rather than saying, hey, pick up your pen or your writing utensil, and you called it a magic wand. And to me, that made me feel like it gave us more ownership, more empowerment, that we took this writing utensil and we created a structure, we created a design, a visual with that magic wand, something to show something to, how can I put this? Give us a visual of what it feels like when we think about our passion, when we think about something we really like, something we really enjoy. And that was a very interesting exercise. I really like that. And some of these quotables, a lot of, again, as a poet, I could appreciate this. A lot of quotables in here. Your brain on art. I love that. And how you talked about how art stimulates the mind. You talked about dopamine. You talked about hippocampus. So it was a little bit of a science class as well as an art class. So that was great. I wish science were that interesting when I was going through K through 12. One of the challenges that I would offer is that I would love to get more feedback on the sources where you got this information from, because I would love to delve more into this, because we only have but so many minutes to talk about what we're talking about. So I would love to know more, and then where someplace we can refer to go back and read or listen to that information again. And a little bit more visuals, like hand gestures, more expressions in that regard. But in the end, to sum up, I love that you also issued us a challenge, to take a look at how we can take a look, as you put it. So you left us with a challenge, you shared your passion, and you gave us a purpose to go out and take this and see how we can incorporate it in our daily lives. And again, I appreciate you for that. So that's all I have, Madam General Evaluator.
And Jennifer, I don't know if you noticed in the chat box, Janet needs you to email your evaluation to her, please.
I will.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for that evaluation as well. Thank you, Mike, for helping me there. Next, I will call on our timer. Miguel, can you tell us how we did on our timing today?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I can absolutely do so. Everybody, I want you to take your hand, stretch it up, stretch it back, and give yourself a pat on the back, because we all hit our times today. I think the t-shirts are lucky, so I'll keep using them. So for our times, Eric, you are our first speaker today. You came in at 5 minutes and 58 seconds. Janet, your speech came in at 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Jennifer Costello, you for table topics at 1 minute, 37 seconds. Jennifer Yancey, table topics, 1 minute, 33 seconds. Mike Everson, table topics, 1 minute, 35 seconds. And our evaluations, Mimi, you came in at 2 minutes, 31 seconds. Jennifer Yancey at 2 minutes, 28 seconds. All hail their shirts for luck. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Miguel. The mute button sometimes just doesn't come off when you need it to. Next, I'd like to hear how we did well with the English language and how we did not so well with the English language and the beautiful use of the word of the day. Please help me welcome our grammarian and word master, Mike Everson.
Well, I took copious notes today. So I will start with Nathan on grammarian stuff. Nathan, I like that you say going to, and you put the G on the end of going, because most of us say gonna. And I noticed that because I say gonna, and so does pretty much everybody else on this screen, except for you. You say going. You said, how are we going to take away from this? I thought, Yeah, you should have said, what are we going to take away from this? But you did say going very well. And then you said the word extemporaneous, and I think you mean extemporaneous. So it's a word that's, when we talk about the table topics, we're doing extemporaneous speaking. And it's easy with these multisyllabic words to just make a mess of them, but it's good to practice and try to get that done. For Eric and Sandy, both in the same family, and you both say eyes. Eyes is not a word unless you're talking about these. So Eric said, Sandy and I's partner is Sandy and my partner. And Sandy said Eric and I's neighborhood, and it's Eric's and my neighborhood. So just get the eyes out of there, because that's the fingernails on the script, the chalkboard for me. I can't stand it when people say eyes and they're not talking about these. And on Eric's speech, he said Sandy's job was to keep Rob and I from killing each other. Once again, it's keep Rob and me from killing each other. You have to separate the two words, the Rob and the I or the me. You would never say I from killing each other or I from killing someone. Keep me from killing someone, not keep I from killing someone. So if you separate the two words, the Rob and me, and you say keep Rob from killing someone, keep me from killing someone, you never say keep I from killing someone. So, well, you might, but it would be wrong. So, but very well done otherwise. Janet, I like what you said, your brain on art is chemicals, and I love that. And I think Jennifer mentioned that as well. And I really enjoyed that. Mimi, your Southern drawl and stuff comes out, and you do the same thing that we all do. Gonna, so you said kinda, and this is what we're doing. So we don't have the G's, we don't have the ofs. We all do it, but I'm mentioning it. Jennifer Yancey, really, I liked in your intro to the evaluation where you said words like intrigued. Those are colorful words. They mean more than just saying, just standard words. I mean, when you get those words in there, it makes you think. And I really like those kinds of words. For the word of the day, I think I counted it all correctly. Eric got it twice. Sandra did it once. Jennifer Yancey got it once. Mimi got it once. And I know I said it a few times because I was just overbearing. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mike. Last but not least, and our most favorite Toastmaster, or at least my most favorite Toastmaster, Sandra Mill, can you tell us how we did with our ums, ahs, and so's and other correct words that you noticed with us?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Especially thank you for fitting one last in there for us. I feel like I have a purpose now to report. Mike, it's unusual.
You're welcome.
I heard two of them just in your grammarian report, and that's very out of the ordinary. Jennifer Yancey, same story as every other meeting. You are perfect on the ahs and the ums. Absolutely perfect. You have the so, which strings sentences together, but sometimes it's easier just to breathe. Janet, also quite perfect with ahs and ums, but you have the and to get to the next sentence. Jennifer C., I mentioned your you just had. Nathan, you were not perfect, but you were doing better with every meeting. So there's my so. So you had a bunch of ums, but you had fewer of them, darn it. Mimi, I don't hear from you, but I hear you know and you like, and you know like. It's the trifecta, they all come together. Eric literally counted 5 ums from you. However, you're a you knower too. And so am I. And when we say you know to each other, we both say, nope, sure don't. Miguel, you're sitting down. I only heard 2 ums from you today. Fantastic work. Overall, we did a just plain fantastic job today. Madam General Evaluator.
There we go. Thank you, everyone, for your reports. My evaluation of the meeting, we did start a little late, maybe by a minute or two, due to some complications with individuals getting signed in. And after we got them signed in, the meeting ran smoothly. Nathan, for being a first-time Toastmaster, you did an excellent job, and I appreciate everything. Big hands, raise the roof for him. And just keep working on it. You'll get the flow and the pattern down. It will be coming out just like that. The evaluators, I have to say, I appreciated your evaluations today. They were excellent. Sometimes I hear in evaluations, well, there's nothing you can do wrong. There's always something. It may be minor, it may be a major thing, but there is always something. So I liked how both Mimi and Jennifer Yancey gave that evaluation to where they encompassed the positive, what you needed to work on, and positive, again, the sandwich method evaluation. I really appreciated that, and I enjoyed that a whole lot. The other thing I'd like to say is it's fun to watch you all on Zoom. I put it sometimes in gallery setting, unless I'm listening to a speech, and then it's in speaker setting. My personal opinion is please don't black out your screen when somebody's speaking, or try not to, because I just find that like we don't want to pay attention to that individual that's speaking, or they're not grabbed our attention. And the other one, it could be just me, and I just want to mention it, is chatting during somebody's speech, because I don't know if it distracts the speaker if they see something, trying to figure out what's going on there in the chat, but it distracts me from what the speaker is saying, and I could miss something really important when the speaker is chatting. So if we can keep our chats to a minimum during speeches, that would be excellent. And I just appreciate everything. You did an excellent job, and hopefully we'll end the meeting on time if I stop talking. Mr. Toastmaster, I return control of the meeting to you.
Thank you very much for that general evaluation, Jennifer. And I think you're absolutely on. A lot of things are changing because of this whole Zoom world because of COVID, and we definitely need to get on that train. I've noticed a couple times with the chat that you brought up in prior meetings that sometimes our actual speaker will be like, well, what did I miss there, kind of thing, and distracting nonetheless. So thank you for that. All right, so we are all biting our nails and pulling our hair out. Sandra, what did we get for our table topics? Who won that?
Drum roll. She'll have to dress up for a meeting as a pirate. It is Jennifer Costello.
Excellent, congratulations,
Thank you,
Jennifer.
everyone.
You can get the ribbon on Easy Speak. All right, well, this looked like a fantastic, oh, there's another M. I'm always working on myself, but as the Toastmaster, I don't think I've ever talked more on a Zoom meeting than today. So thank you for giving me that opportunity to learn and find the problems with myself so that I can push that forward to next meetings, as well as some business meetings that I'm probably horrible at as well. So thank you for that. That being said, this was a fantastic Toastmasters meeting. I want to turn control over to our Madam President so that we can start finding out where we need to improve, as well as get some new roles for next week. Everybody, it was a pleasure. Back to you, Madam President.
Thanks, Nathan. Quickly, so that those of you who have to leave at 1 o'clock can leave at 1 o'clock, we are planning a virtual open house on November 18th. We will deal with details in future meetings and emails so that as the clock strikes 1, those of you who need to drop out can.